So
I
definitely
like that
be worth it.
exaggerated good.
It's good.
On PS5 and Series X, it's decent. So, all right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Juices Loose. For those of you that haven't seen anybody in the chat yet, I have some new settings for the live chat. So slow mode is on, and you have to be a subscriber for at least 3 hours. So somebody feel free to say something in the chat. I want to make sure it works. Hopefully. But yeah, it's just the three of us. Robert was going to take a nap, so we don't expect him. he's going to be sleeping.
Yeah, nap usually lasts about 3 hours for him.
I can do an hour nap, but I don't think he can.
No, especially since it's basically him going to bed. You know, he didn't go to sleep yet, so
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just the three of us, and we got some topics, and should be fun. We got some Pokemon. The only person I really would love to watch a reaction from doesn't make reactions to Pokemon stuff because you can't wait to watch it. So
well, that and it was during work. It was during work. That was the other problem.
Take those days off.
I debated it, but literally, well, it was weird because that work day they let us go. They let us go home to change clothes because we were doing some manual labor. I got home in the middle of the damn thing, so I'm watching it on my phone while I'm driving to the house.
Oh yeah.
Fuck! And so the internet's cutting out depending on which area I'm in, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck about all this other shit. Let me just get to the Arceus stuff. Arceus stuff starts. Oh, lost connection. Please let me regain it.
That's funny.
I need it. I need it in my life.
We'll talk about that. Obviously. The main topic is that, and then I also want to talk about Sony's. I knew their cross-gen pricing strategy wasn't great, but now that Ghost of Tsushima director's cut's out, we're seeing the flaws of it. We can discuss that.
What's wrong?
What's the problem?
So, but yeah, I know T started a game. I was pretty excited to see.
Woo!
If you want to talk about it.
I started a wonderful game called Immortals: Fenyx Rising, and it's good. I'm having a good time. I haven't gotten that far, but it controls well. Maybe I'm just fighting against it at this point, but I'm not overly happy where the attack buttons are.
Yeah, you'll get used to them.
Yeah, I figured that, but I'm like, I went in to try to find the controls and see if I can change them, but you can't. Yeah, I mean, it's goofy as hell, like some of the dialogue. I think it's funny. The cool thing is that my class before summer break, we were going through Greek mythology, so all that's still fresh in my mind. So when they drop all these names and all that stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, I know these guys. So that's cool.
Yeah,
it looks fantastic. I'm glad that I said I'll get the Xbox version over the Switch version. I'm glad I did that because I couldn't imagine the Switch version looks this good, especially on my monitor.
And at 60 solid.
And at
frame
60,
rate.
right? So, yeah, it looks great. I mean, I was gonna change because you can customize a little bit the character, but I was like, no, I'm just gonna leave it. You know, there's not a ton of games with female protagonists in it, so I was just like, I'll rock out with the original Fenyx.
I changed the hair for sure.
I think I changed her eye color or something like that. That's about.
I like her voice actress too. I looked her up and she's just been on some TV shows. I forget which one was the most famous or most popular, but she hasn't done any video game voice acting work before. I really like her delivery, the accent. I don't know, it's probably fake accent, obviously, but the timing of her delivery is good. And then I would credit the facial animators too for some very subtle humor in facial reactions, which might have been a face capture. But let's say everybody in the chat here, we got B Wild, we got Lenny, the anime rapper, we got Visored, we got Ayers, who's new, and he's gonna be talking some Pokemon junk. Keep that up, and I might have to do something, but just keep it civil. We're not here to bash. unless we're pals. I don't know if you know him, Terrell, but
That name doesn't sound familiar.
we got Triple J Zoo and we got Is Human. What's up, everybody? Yeah, T was talking about playing Immortals and made me almost. I almost turned it down. I was just busy doing home improvement stuff and. But when I saw, I was like, "Damn it! I want to start." And I was tempted. But so did you get the wings? I'm pretty sure those come pretty soon.
Yeah,
All right.
I got the wings,
You got the
and I was
axe.
expecting once I got those I'd be floating, but nope, not yet. Um, right now, you just get a double jump out of them. Um,
I thought
and
there's
yeah, it's like, to me, it feels like it's definitely Breath of the Wild, but meets like Kingdoms of Amalur. So if you're familiar with that game, which recently got like a remaster or
I've
something,
never
I
heard of
think.
it.
It's that one famous game that Kurt Schilling put together. I don't know if you remember back in the day, and the whole studio they got Connecticut or something to pay for it, and it all fell through. It was a horrible disaster.
Really?
But the game is good, but the whole way of they funding it, and I don't think it sold that great. Um, it was just overly ambitious for no good reason. And yeah, Kurt Schilling was behind it, at least the funding and whatnot. So I don't like Kurt Schilling, but anyway.
You talking about the pitcher, Kurt Schilling, or somebody
Yeah,
else?
the pitcher.
Really?
From, the Red Sox. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, he was behind it.
Yeah, it's one of those. For me, I knew in the demo, like 10 minutes in the demo, I was enjoying it. But it's been so long because when you played New Game Plus, you don't have to do the beginning stuff. So you already have the axe and wings and stuff. It doesn't make you redo that stuff. In the demo, you got the glide right away. You just got to hit. What is it on Xbox? The Y button, I think. As soon as not long after, there's like, oh, and she took to the air and it let you glide. So you got to be really close. But yeah, it's cool because no one else has even, I don't think, even played the demo, like other than me. So it'll be interesting. Here I've been talking about it for not quite 10 months, I think, and waiting for somebody else. I'll be curious to see. For me, it really really clicked though when I did the first, like, what do you want to call it? It's like the vaults are like the shrines, but it's the main. There's four main, like, basically it'd be like a divine beast in Breath of the Wild. It's the main thing you got to do to free them.
Yeah.
They're like essence, and Aphrodite's is like. It was like, holy shit, this was really well designed, and the puzzles are actually. That's when for me it was like, all right, this is more than just I'm having fun. Like this is really well done. So that's cool though that you're playing it. I was gonna start. I've been meaning to start Hades. I picked it up last week.
Me
It got
too.
delivered, and like I said, I've been doing home improvement stuff. I've been wearing myself out. I literally played maybe 3 hours of Ghost of Tsushima and about 3 hours of Rocket League since the last podcast. So I haven't got much done. Well, maybe four hours. I was trying to get through Ghost of Tsushima. It's just like, it's one of those, just like Immortals. I told myself, let's just push through, and then like, nope, there's this little side quest here, and every side quest I've done has been something compelling story wise, and it's been fun enough gameplay wise, where I just can't just go directly through from main mission to main mission. I just can't do it. So I can't. I'm not getting through the game. Not like I want to get through it, but at like 40 hours in, I just started Act 3, which there's 3 acts. So I'm 2/3 of the way through apparently. And I mean, I'm not trying to make it last, but at the same time, every time I play it, like, well, I can't just go straight through it. I need to do all the stuff I can do because it is enjoyable. What about you, Terrell? Did you beat anything or start anything?
Last week? Nah, I'm probably almost done with No More Heroes 2. And then I'll be ready for Friday.
I thought I saw you streaming something I didn't recognize.
Oh, Arc Rise Fantasia. That was that Wii game that I've talked about. It's usually, when I make that reference to, when I say killing you dead, it comes from that game. I decided to go back and do and actually replay it to see if it if it's as good or as bad as it was. So that's the other thing I've been playing. So it's been No More Heroes 2, bad, and Ones with You 2, which I've been taking my time with. That to me, that's like how you are with Ghost of Tsushima. Like, I could just do the story, but I'm kind of sidetracking myself a lot. So I want to have that one done earlier, but it's just not gonna happen.
What's your verdict?
So far, it's just been fucking great, dude. It's
Yeah.
been. I am thoroughly impressed with that. That combat system is just
Combat. So I was gonna say the combat system I like a lot.
it's just really addictive. And they tried to keep everything from the original game, like how different buttons do the different psychic abilities and stuff. It's one of those games that if fuck around is going to end up being a perfect game in my eyes.
Yeah.
I'm scared to make that claim. Yeah, I need to get through the whole game, but it needs to stop playing with my emotions. That's all I'm saying.
Well, Psychonauts 2 got getting some pretty good reviews.
Dude, literally, people. I feel like people want to give it a perfect 10, and they're just like dicking around with it.
Yeah.
How long has that game officially been, like, since it was confirmed? Yes, this game.
I would say 2016, 2017.
Yeah,
because I know it's been talked about over the years, but since
Yeah,
like what,
when it was
4
officially like announced
four-
to be a sequel, I think it was like 2017.
So about 4 years.
Yeah.
It comes out. Is it not tomorrow? It's the day after tomorrow, isn't it?
it's got to be soon. I mean, this week for sure. I don't know what day.
Well, they're already doing reviews. It's got to be like tomorrow or like Thursday. I'm thinking.
Yeah, honestly,
people like it so far.
I've never played the original and don't know much about it.
I bought it, but I didn't finish it. That was the problem.
I love that game.
That was what, Xbox or Xbox 360 generation?
Started off on Xbox original, and then I think it was on PS2. They ported it.
Yeah.
And then how does it? It's coming to PS4, which obviously they aren't upgrading the PS5 version now that Microsoft owns the studio, but it's still coming to PS4.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, isn't there a PS4 version?
Yeah, because I think I don't know about that, but I thought it originally started as like a Kickstarter or something, didn't it?
Yeah. And then it got bought.
And then then Microsoft bought them.
Yeah.
But
the way it was introduced was the Kickstarter, and then it was like, oh, by the way, now they own our studio. I'm like, oh, all right.
So I mean, that's good that they didn't cancel the PS4 version, because I'm sure they got some funding for that. I don't know how much.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't, like, that's one good thing. Like when Microsoft acquiring these studios and their games and whatnot, they still have committed to the original deals and shit. They haven't cut and said, "Oh, well, sorry, we're Microsoft owned now. Peace."
Well, of course they're gonna stick with the.
Also,
in Japan, Minecraft, the Switch is the highest selling version ever of that.
Yeah.
So like, it makes sense for them to keep supporting the other console versions.
Side note: if you want to play the first game, guess how much it is on Steam right now for
$5?
Huh?
Which one? The first game?
Yeah, the first game.
$5.
$1.
Damn.
That's disgusting.
I might just get it just to get
it.
Yeah,
I should.
That's
I
so
might not
cheap.
play it anytime
it's so
soon.
cheap.
But...
You're just like, what the fuck? Why not?
Yeah, I'm just like,
what kind of game is it? Honestly, is it like a platformer? Is it a puzzle?
Yeah, it's
game?
a platformer. Yeah,
it's like a puzzle-ish platform action adventure.
Yeah,
and they remastered it for PS4 apparently.
Yeah,
they did.
I could have sworn I saw like a copy of it on a shelf for PS4.
I wasn't sure.
I was like, what the hell? Psychonauts is on PS4, the original?
I did see some people were complaining because Xbox Series X and S are getting a enhanced version, and it's like, can you blame I mean, come on, can you blame Microsoft? They bought this company,
They better get some out of it.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
you didn't.
Do you really expect them?
It's like you didn't kickstart the advanced version or enhanced version, so because there's been a lot of crying about that, and like I know recently with Hellblade. People,
I've seen that too.
Sony fans are upset, and like
the game was like,
the
game was like 80% off though. It's like literally like 80-90% off or 70% off for a week, and people are like, I ain't buying it. You're not upgrading it. It's like $5. Like seriously,
and it looks great.
It looks good
before the upgrade. So I don't know.
Honestly, yeah, I watched the video and I was the ray trace reflections only are in puddles, and there's not that many puddles, so
Yeah.
really it's not that big of a upgrade.
I watched it side by side. I didn't see a whole
It
lot
was
of
yeah,
difference.
when I actually saw that, I was like, yeah, that was that's not really, as long as it had a I don't know what the PS4 Pro options were cuz I don't have the PlayStation version. As long as there was like uh a near 4K or a 60 frames per second option on PS4, I think it'd be perfectly fine playing it on PS5, especially at that discounted price.
Yeah.
You know, as a PS5 owner, honestly, I would probably have bought it again if they announced. I'd have it for every available platform if they announced a PS5 upgrade, but that was before I knew that the upgrade wasn't really that substantial. Because 120 frames per second means nothing for that slow paced game.
Yeah, that means
The
nothing.
combat is, I mean, I like the combat, but it's not relying on super precise button movements, you know?
No.
So, you know, since they did it, I guess, but at the same time, I got to look at it from both sides. With Psychonauts, I don't know, man. If I was Microsoft and the PS4 version like sold really well, you know, maybe it would benefit them, but at the same time, it's their studio. You know, why not have the best version? And I'm
Yeah,
not sure what Psychonauts 2's upgrades
I
are.
mean, if you're gonna put extra work into it, you put it into your,
Yeah,
your company's version,
I'd
right?
expect the same out of Nintendo or Sony. You know, like
Yeah. It's anti-consumer. Shut the fuck
if
up.
yeah,
get
that
an
one. Yeah, I would say
Xbox,
that didn't bother me. Yeah,
get an Xbox then.
I don't see the big deal.
Um, but one other kind of, since we're talking about Sony a little bit, I was thinking about getting a DualShock controller, um, just for like PS4 games and stuff that don't use the DualSense,
Mhm.
because especially for like Rocket League, it's not like the DualShock and DualSense are that different, but holding like playing Rocket League with a PlayStation controller, it's just holding the triggers makes my pointer finger really sore. Fine on Xbox, but I was like, well, let me look at DualShocks. Well, I go to Best Buy, and they have literally the PS4 doesn't exist anymore at that store except for the games. There's no accessories, there's no controllers, there's no systems,
Really?
and I'm wondering if that's a shortage situation or if that was Sony stopped producing them. I was like, maybe I guess that's why my PS4 Pro sold for 300 used. I did not see them anywhere, and I'm curious if anybody in the chat, if anybody has probably not looked for it, but if anybody's noticed,
Yeah, I haven't really
I
looked.
haven't seen a PS4 in a store or a controller now in a long time. So I'm curious if they just disappeared. I mean, I don't. There's no Xbox Ones either, but I know they officially discontinued the One X a while ago, and I'm guessing the One S as well. But I thought that was a little crazy because not even like third party. There wasn't even like a third party PS4 controller. It was like just non-existent. There was dual senses. They had all the colors. They had headsets, but nothing. In Xbox, all the controllers are interchangeable, so they had a shit ton of like third party controllers. And then their first party ones that used to be, they used to have decent price sales and stuff. They're all $70 now, $69.99. All the Xbox controllers, um, the official ones are all $69.99 now, which is a bit of a bummer. Because I do need one for my PC, and I'm debating if I want to try to wait till I get a Series X and just use that controller. If I can get one in the next few months, or just
Are you planning to get one in the next few months?
if I can find one. I was thinking about it. I'm still kind of, I wouldn't use the word upset, but I'm a little skeptical now that it turned out. I was gonna get it just for Forza Horizon 5, but what they showed wasn't indicative of the Series X version. So I want to see, because I mean, I'm kind of torn. I mean, I would enjoy playing that upstairs on my TV and stuff over on my PC, but it's gonna probably run pretty well on my PC as well. So I don't know. Either way, my old Xbox One. This is like the fourth one I've had, and I'm getting a little bit of stick drift on the left stick. And the A button's always kind of been an issue for Rocket League. So I gotta say, I wasn't not impressed with the Xbox One S generation controllers. The original Xbox One controller lasted me like 4 years, and I've been through 4 of these other ones now, and I've had issues. So
Jesus.
that's
Yeah,
what.
but the older ones, like the one I have, the Xbox One controller, you can't. They don't hook up Bluetooth without a freaking dongle or something.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that kind of sucks.
But it was
But
nice, man. That I had to get rid of it because the left bumper went out, and that's what I use in Rocket League for power sliding and air rolling, and so I can turn in the air.
yeah,
And I hit that 100 times an hour playing Rocket League, and probably more. And so I've been struggling. I was looking at like PDP, I think is the brand. They look
yeah,
just like
Yeah.
it, They look just freaking like the same shape. So I'm tempted to go down. I might start watching some videos on some third-party Xbox controllers. But let's see. Lenny Wright said he heard there was a PS4 shortage. They go for a premium online. So Terrell, I mean, I know you're not looking to buy a PS5, but I would say if you could get Robert to get you one, I don't know. Look at the PS4 Pro prices. You might be able to upgrade for like $150.
Hey,
Might maybe.
Something to look into. That's
Maybe.
how I looked at it. I basically upgraded to my PS5 for $230. That's not too bad, really, for the improvements.
No, that's not bad at all.
That's basically like a graphics card in my PC. I've pretty much that's about around the price I've paid because I always have sold my old card. So yeah, it's just a question of finding it. But I mean, it's
technically my upgrade was $300. So
and I keep
I
forgetting.
think I got 180 for my OG Xbox One.
Did you? I gotta look to see what the One S is going for. I literally have just sitting there unplugged.
Got to be more than that.
It's in great condition.
And
Barely
it was
used.
just the box. I mean, it was just the system itself. I kept my controller.
Oh really? I'd be
So
selling the
I got
controller.
that just yeah.
I have the original box. I have all the cords, everything, and everything's in good condition. So I'm gonna have to look that up because if I get
Controller and power brick. That's all I sold.
if I could
I
get
got
anywhere
180.
near 200, I would feel like that's a huge win
Yeah, I'm sure you could.
because I just put that money towards the Series X. Then let's see what else was there. I felt like there
We
was
could
one.
actually, since we're on the Xbox stuff, we could talk about the Halo Infinite news.
Oh yeah, they just announced the one of the popular online modes, and then the map creator are getting like 6 months out. They said.
Yeah.
So basically, they're launching the single player only. First, that's gonna be $60 purchase from everything I've seen, and then they have the free multiplayer.
But if you have Game Pass,
Yeah, if you have Game Pass, but so what? I mean, we didn't really talk about this. It's an interesting strategy, and I don't know if Call of Duty kind of did it, with a separate mode, not the entire online mode. They did it with just the Warzone mode. So now you're, obviously a lot of people have Game Pass if you have an Xbox, but asking 60 for a single player only, and then giving the multiplayer for free. It's an interesting strategy. I guess it will depend on the quality of the game.
Is it worth? I mean, it's like you said, it's based on the quality of the game, but like, I don't know, 60. You're really just paying 60 right now for the single player, right? Pretty much.
Splatoon.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear not one Nintendo fan say one thing bad.
Oh, about this content
Not a
coming later.
goddamn thing.
Yeah, the stuff coming later, that's fine. But it got me thinking about the whole idea of, if people really like the multiplayer, I just wonder how many are just gonna go out and buy the single player only with the multiplayer being free.
Yeah, but I thought Halo's biggest draw was the multiplayer.
It definitely is.
Yeah, for some, I love the fucking campaign when it ain't shit. Halo 5. So I'm hoping the campaign is actually really good. Again, haven't had a super.
I don't think 343 is
It
really
was okay.
I don't think 343
3
is
was
capable.
like the last really good Halo campaign. So we'll see.
I think they need to find a new studio for Halo, to be honest.
Well,
4 looked great because they got the the designer, the art director, whatever, from Retro Studios, who did the Metroid Prime series. It looked great, but I didn't hear anybody really talk about the campaign being anything special. And then the multiplayer, I guess, is was good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, has anybody really talked about campaign yet?
But 5 seemed kind of lackluster, and now all the development issues with this one, I kind of feel like they need to give it to a different studio at this point.
Maybe, or maybe they figured it out. Maybe it was some growing pains.
I feel like this will be the make it or break it one.
Yeah,
we'll see how they do with Infinite's campaign, but if it's not good, then
then fuck them. Like,
and Halo,
at that point, Microsoft, you need to switch. You need to switch studios.
And it'll be like, it's hard. I hate to say this because I love single player games and stuff, but a game that was always single player and multiplayer. Yes, they're giving you the multiplayer for free, so if you really love Halo, you're gonna buy it. You're gonna play the multiplayer. You're gonna play the single player. But as a value proposition to somebody else, who maybe isn't as intrigued by the multiplayer aspect, but still, it kind of, even if I don't care about multiplayer, it's still hard to feel like
doesn't care.
Like,
Just want you to play.
I know, but it still feels like they took something away. I don't know, and the same thing came up for The Last of Us Part 2, where they took out the multiplayer. I never played the multiplayer in the original game, so I didn't really consider that, but it still felt like for a lot of people, it felt like,
with it, right? The multiplayer for Last of Us Part 2 also had.
There wasn't. They never did. They never did multiplayer.
Yeah, but I don't think it ever had multiplayer.
Oh, they never did it. Okay.
No.
Yeah, they never.
They did.
I thought they were going to delay it, and I don't know.
They did double the length of the single player, so I mean, for me it wasn't an issue, but a lot of people, and I could
single player that everybody loved.
And I do want to put it. I want to put it in context because fucking T alluded to that. I'll make the Splatoon goddamn comparison. I feel like it's probably more offensive for the. I mean, people are getting annoyed with it in the second game in the franchise for Splatoon, whereas this is what, the 6th game, right? In Halo, and we're doing the whole
It's probably more like 8 with Reach and the other.
Yeah, if you include
like
those.
Games,
And the problem is also the development time, because the gap between 5 and Infinite is relatively decent at this point. I think we were just kind of like, you couldn't have. And from what I understand, Forge is a pretty like.
Oh, that was the other thing, the co-op for the single player.
Yeah, co-op single player. That one I really don't get.
If I may offer a little bit of a defense.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just real quick. We're talking about 2 different Microsofts from last Halo to this one. The Microsoft and Halo 5 was, they weren't getting no checks cut. There was like, they weren't sure about basically, funding Microsoft or Xbox going forward. Like, their directions are completely different. Microsoft is once again apparently in love with Xbox again. There was a point where they weren't.
Well, the difference.
That's a reason why you weren't getting like first party games and whatnot, because Microsoft was just gonna kind of push Xbox off to the side as a side thing. But with them putting Phil Spencer ahead, and I guess he convinced the big heads, and it's working out at this point. So for me, it's like, well, Halo 5 certainly fell in that hole. You can tell that, if you played the game, that they didn't put a whole lot, at least into the campaign of the game. And, people weren't in love with the multiplayer or anything either. So that's why I say this game, Halo Infinite, they're trying to harken back to the original game and the original feel and all that stuff. Great. And they've had some stumbling blocks as far as development goes, but I think I'm going to give them a few months past if they
haven't even announced a release date either.
I don't give a shit. The campaign sucks.
Yeah, you don't know when it comes out, I don't think.
But as far as like the extra bells and whistles, because they're talking like a 10-year cycle or some shit for this game. I'm like, okay, that's
really.
Yeah, they were talking about that for like the multiplayer and all. The multiplayer, especially. I don't know if not gonna release another Halo.
I'm about to say the
for 10
most.
years.
I'm gonna say realistically, I think the most you could do is 5. But Jesus Christ,
Maybe they're trying to do what GTA Online's been doing.
They're
Maybe.
trying to, they're basically trying to go that route. And usually, when somebody tries to copy something like that, it doesn't work out.
No.
You know, I remember a game made by the ex-Halo people who were talking about 10 years for their series, and that shit didn't really work out either.
Well, what they even messed up the Master Chief Collection. They finally like a year ago, it finally was like the game actually works like it was supposed to.
So that's my thing. Maybe they've learned. So they finally got Master Chief to work. Halo, everybody loves the multiplayer for Halo Infinite, right? So that's fine. Now let's see what this campaign is like. If that's also good, then you know they figured it out. They got it.
Yeah.
But if not, then you know.
And it's hard at this point.
Then there's a level of concern that needs to come.
It's hard at this point not to believe though. Was it like a? It was for jobs where you could post your. You could review like places to work. I forget which one it was.
You talking about Yelp?
I don't know which one it was. There's a couple. I know there's a couple out there, but anyway, it was right after the game was shown, and everyone, was like, "What the hell, Craig," and all that. And there was some very detailed, very long, well written. It didn't. If somebody made it up, they put a lot of thought and a lot of nuance into these. And basically, they made it sound like 343 had too many chiefs or too many cooks in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
They had outsourced like a huge percentage of their team was just like someone they just hired to work for this, not hired internally, but what are they outsourced, but like what's the actual official term where somebody if somebody hired you to like film something.
Freelance. Oh, no. Is it freelancing?
Freelance,
no.
yeah. A lot of freelance stuff. Then the infrastructure of the computer system was like they would implement something. It'd be like a week before it could actually get like tested and verified if it need bugs or whatever. And it was this like really detailed thing. And I forget who did the video on it. It might have been Richard Review Tech, one of the few videos I watched of his in the last couple of years. And it, like I said, if somebody wrote that and made that up, that like they put so much time and nuance into everything, like it sounded at the time, it sounded believable, and I think it even sounds more believable with what's going to be a year delay, possibly. I mean, they haven't even officially confirmed a month, so I mean, there's still a chance in my mind that it'll miss 2021, or at least the one of them, the single player multiplayer. I feel like the multiplayer would come out no matter what, but so hopefully, Phil Spencer got in there and said, "What the hell's going on, guys? Like you got some issues in your management if those things are happening." I worked for a company where we had some just absolute, I would say, unqualified people in certain high positions making just terrible decisions, but reporting back to the head guy like everything was great. Just they must have been just sugarcoating, lying. Who knows? Like I'd have loved to have been a fly in the wall to hear what they were saying. As we were tanking, what they were saying to keep their jobs for as long as they did. So I can kind of see myself. I can see like in the shoes of a 343 like regular employee, like seeing this passion you have for this project, but seeing it getting destroyed by idiots in charge, So that's how I envision it based off hearing that.
I watched this series with Matt McMuscles. The what the F happened to?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And you wouldn't believe the type of fuckery and the bullshit that goes on a lot of times with these games that start off with a good what's the word I'm looking for? Good intentions, and it just turns to utter shit. And it happens way more than a good game comes out. That's the case. That's what happens. So making a great game, a great series, is a rare thing. No pun intended. But it's not something that's an easy thing to do. So, I saw somebody earlier say, they haven't been able to capture that Halo thing, and I'm like, that's not an easy. You can't just throw a bunch of people at something like that. You know, that's not an easy thing to do, to recapture. Recapturing anything as Star Wars, it's very hard
Hmm. Well,
to do. Like, that's
did you
just
hear
not something
about
that happens.
James Cameron with the Avatar sequels?
Right.
Who was?
I'm not gonna doubt James
I
Cameron.
know, but
I
did you?
can't. I
He
can't doubt him until he screws up. Because
he
every
hired the
time he comes out
writers,
with something,
and every time
people
I forget who was saying this. I've heard it multiple
expected to
times.
fail.
Every time,
Titanic was expected to fail. Avatar was expected to fail. Abyss, like, and he knocks it out of the
yeah.
park
Well,
every
here's
time.
what he did that's different than other people. He hires a team of writers, and for 1 year, he says, "I don't want to hear one story. I don't want to hear one story idea." They deconstructed the original movie, talk whether it was reading reviews, talking to people to try to figure out what it was that captivated people. And apparently this is the story. So they'd hand him a little note. This nope. He's like, I'm gonna fire you if you hand me another story idea until we figure out why the first movie was so captivating to audiences, what worked so well, and once we figure that out, then we'll start writing. And that was like a year, just absolutely. Most studios, most writers would have had the movies written in a year, and he
Oh
took
yeah,
a whole year just to try to figure out what it was that people loved about that world in that movie, and try to recapture that. So we'll see, because I guess what he's doing,
the guy is
force.
a complete, you know, especially looking, he's a complete ass, but he has to be to get out of the production and the actors, to get what he gets out of him. That's why he is who he is. Like,
Hmm.
that's why the shit works. You know.
He's a
So
perfectionist too, like you
until
can
he
tell.
fails, right? He's a perfectionist. Until he fails, I can't count him out because I've seen way too many articles before all his movies come out, predicting this and this and that. Even back to like True Lies, they were like, I don't know why they thought True Lies was going to fail, but you know, here we go. He's still doing it. So until he fails, then I can't count him out. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, he doesn't. Not everybody gets that leeway,
Yeah.
especially in gaming. You don't get that kind. You don't get. I think I remember he said something about, I need $10 million just to develop this shit. Like, like just to develop it,
Hmm.
not even like start filming, none of that shit.
Jesus
But
Christ.
he acquired that, the ability to do that. He can go to his studio and say that, and I'm like, all right, that's what you
Well,
need.
yeah,
So
you need to design technology first before they could even
right,
film, So, yeah,
right,
for I
that's what
could
he
feel
did.
that the pressure of like we criticized Resident Evil 3, was it last year? Because it felt like they threw that game together, but the success of the 2 remake, 8 was, we now know, was a 2021 game, and it feels like to a lot, I mean, to people who played it, it felt like to me like they just wanted to get the game out. They want to take advantage of the success of Resident Evil 2 remake, and instead of like actually refining the formula, adding to it, they cut a bunch of stuff out, and you get this opening section that's really, Resident Evil feeling really well done, and then it just kind of
Yeah.
meh, it just turns into like filler stuff after that, and it's like,
Well,
And I just want to say, because I see B Wild went to comment the world, talking about Avatar, I'm guessing, because the story. But that's by design. Like,
hmm,
he knows it's a simple story. That was the point.
yeah, when you
The
like you
point is to
said
have a
that,
simple story that people know, so you can fall in love with the world and the tropes and
yeah,
whatnot.
if you put
That
a
was the
super
point. It wasn't like
complicated story in a
right
in a world no one's ever seen before with all this new stuff, that's
sci-fi,
Jupiter
especially.
Ascending. That's what happened to Jupiter Ascending.
Exactly, Jupiter Ascending was
Too
like
much
all over the
complicated,
place.
and yeah, it's a little, the story's not super original, like the core idea, but
Hmm.
I mean, it's still like watching it happen in this
Yeah.
particular way is different than watching it in like Pocahontas. Everybody loved to talk about Pocahontas. It's still a different viewing experience watching Avatar and Pocahontas, or not Last Mohicans.
Yeah.
Dance with Wolves was the other one.
Um,
They're still different.
Fern Gully, Fern Gully.
Fern Gully, they're still
Yeah.
very different. Um, you know, it's not a perfect movie. The
I didn't.
writing's
I
not
didn't go
perfect.
out and buy Fern Gully books.
They
I didn't go out and
didn't
buy.
make Fern
Uh,
Gully video games, did
but
they?
I got Avatar books all over the place, so
But
there's a difference.
anyway, the whole idea is it's hard to recapture, and and
Right.
whether it's game sequels, Nintendo seems to be in a league of their own when it comes to keeping franchises feeling fresh, even though some they don't, but their main Zelda, Mario, definitely they put a brand new
Ocarina of Time, Mario 64 being what they were, that wasn't an easy thing. That was amazing that happened and worked out so well.
there's a lot of games that came out, they weren't quite to that level, but they never achieved that
No,
again, and
they
Nintendo's
never were the
since
3D
then.
version of the 2D game that we all grew up with.
And since then, I'm saying a lot of people have other Zelda games ahead of Ocarina of Time. Who would have thought they would have been able to top it? A lot of people love Wind Waker the most. There's some Twilight Princess Skyward Sword fans and a ton of Breath of the Wild
God bless them.
fans, you know.
So
So
you sound like those poor souls.
So
That's
they've
the way
been
you made it
able-
sound like.
they've been able to
Jesus
keep these
Christ.
franchises feeling fresh, not getting burnt out on the formula, but then, obviously, I'm probably a little bit on my own with this one, but I feel the Kirby franchise is missing that. Like, let's really take this to a new level, like let's do something new here, and let's make it a Kirby game. Like, I just don't feel the
Donkey Kong.
Tropical Freeze. Yeah, it's reminiscent of the country games, but it definitely took it to the next level. I felt. Maybe that's why they didn't make maybe they didn't have any like new ideas it would have just been a little bit more of the same to do another. If Retro had done a third Donkey Kong Country game, like in a couple of 3 years after, maybe that's why they didn't do it, because they didn't feel like they had an idea to really make it feel that unique. Because I thought Ukulele in the Impossible Lair was going to scratch that itch. It did for like the first half of the game, and then that you could tell they ran out of ideas halfway through and that's my opinion. It felt like they ran out of ideas, and the levels just started repeating the same assets. It was very samey by the last half, I felt, and it just kind of wore a little thin for me. And I didn't think the big gimmick of the Impossible Lair was that fun, because that level was just stupid, and it's just like I don't know, man. Robert got through it, but I gave it about, I want to say, maybe 20, 30 tries, and that's nah.
Damn.
Jesus
I still haven't
Christ.
gotten there yet, but
Nah.
is it that hard?
It's just ridiculous. It's just like, it's really punishing. Let's see. Falcon Black joined. What's up? Pokemon's Legend will absolutely chug on the Switch hardware. We'll talk about that. We'll get to that
Damn.
really quick. First, I want to hit the somebody mentioned that Black Myth Wukong trailer, the new gameplay. I don't know if you guys watched it, but it's fucking
I haven't seen it.
epic as hell. Like I said, I hope it's really fun. It looks like they're trying a lot of different gameplay mechanics in this one game. But what's new since
Wait a minute. I think I'm thinking of a different game.
That's
What is it called?
Black, what was it?
Oh yeah,
Wukong?
yeah. I've seen that. Yeah.
Where the guy can transforms into creatures and
Hold on. Let me Google this
Some good
while y'all
shit.
talking about it.
but they 2 months ago they decided to transition to Unreal Engine 5. So they were on Unreal Engine 4, and the first trailer looked impressive, but you saw some kinks in it. There was some slowdown. There's some huge areas in like the clouds that just looked like it was chugging. Well, they started converting to Unreal Engine 5 2 months ago, and they were so successful, they already put out this trailer, and it looks, they said the frame rate, and they're using DLSS, so it was obviously run on PC, but just the ability to streamline the big open areas, and it's way more smooth, and it looks pretty incredible. Like a lot of people were saying in the chat, it's definitely a next gen looking game for sure. And I'll be curious to see how it runs on consoles, but I'm intrigued.
This looks ridiculous.
And it looks smooth too, but it's a PC. It's got but they said that was running on 2060, which is what you have, Terrell.
Really?
Because they're using DLSS
Wow.
to get up to 4K. It's rendering.
If it's that optimized, I'd be fucking blown away.
I'm
That's
pretty
crazy.
sure maybe it was the Super, but I know that they said that's that was what they wanted it to be able to run, not just on the super high end cards. And it's like, man, these guys, their what do you want to call it? Their design of the creature designs and stuff's on point. Music's great. The setting, like, I'm just like, damn, that's a world I definitely want to spend some time in. I just hope it's not too many different gameplay elements and it's not too Dark Soulsy like Retro Death was thinking it might be. Of course, he said it looked boring, but I was captivated watching it. Whether the game ends up great, I hope, because they're like a new studio too. Like, they're like,
visually it looks great. I don't know.
Was Retro Death complaining about Dark Souls?
I don't know. He just says it looks worse than Dark Souls combat wise. I was like, I thought.
Yeah, but Dark Souls doesn't. But Dark Souls has never had.
Three. He like Dark Souls 3, but he has a problem with.
Come on, this is Retro Death.
Oh, Lord.
This is Retro Death.
That's another ism, I'm guessing. It's another retro.
I mean, Retro knows. I'm sure he's gonna watch this. I love when he complains about a game that is very apparent or evident in a game I know he loves, and I love pointing that out. So, but I haven't heard much about Darksiders 3 from him. I didn't hear much about the combat. So,
yeah,
is it Dark Souls?
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, it's very Dark Souls.
It's like too much dodge rolling. But yeah, that game looks promising. I know it was like it was like a group of like developers. They were getting away from Tencent or something. If I'm remembering correctly, they started their own little studio, and that game is like their first effort as that team, and it looks promising. So hopefully it turns out, because there is some really cool elements to it. You know, I see some of the Dark Souls, but at the same time, it looks like there's way more.
I wouldn't call it Dark
variation.
Souls. I would say this is easier than Dark Souls, just off of what I'm saying.
Well, I don't know, that with that white wolf in the last trailer.
Oh, okay. I'm saying the monkey fight still.
I don't know. It looks like to me, it looks like there's more agility. There's more variety of moves, but I haven't played Dark Souls since the original game, so I can't really.
Dark Souls is too slow for me.
Too slow.
But it is promising. Turn on the super chat.
This looks way too stylish for me to think this is fucking Dark Souls.
But it is promising for Unreal Engine 5 because
it's probably closer to Bloodborne or anything, and even then, it's not even the same game.
No, I didn't really get those vibes that much.
I don't get enough Dark Souls in it. That's my thing.
You're not doing. I didn't see too much like dodge rolling and stuff, but it feels like the attacks do more stun the enemies.
Well, no, it's definitely a more difficult game. I don't. My problem. The thing is, Dark Souls to me is extremely slow paced. This doesn't seem nowhere near close to being that slow for me to make that comparison. And it seems more action oriented than.
And anything. like I said, I like that the bosses like react to your hits. I feel like in Dark Souls, watching your Bloodborne gameplay or your streams, it feels like the enemies don't react to your hits.
Yeah, I don't even know if I hit that bitch.
Like it doesn't.
I will agree and disagree. I would say if you start off a 3-hit combo, they usually don't feel the first 2 hits.
Okay.
But depending on the weapon you're using, you can get the 3rd hit to trigger an effect. Like I can cause enemies to bleed out and shit. So this just seems more consistent in that, where every hit seems to cause a reaction. Whereas in Bloodborne, it was like you could hit, and the main reason is because that means the motherfuckers could brute force away. You couldn't just slam on the enemy because they come over and just haymaker the shit out of you. And you're just like, yeah, okay, maybe I shouldn't have hit him in the face. Oh, my chest hurts.
Yeah, I get why they can't do that, where you can just spam your attack and stagger the enemies constantly. Because even in Immortals, there are some like finishing moves that will stagger, like the big Cyclops. But if he's swinging to do his like hammer down and you're not dodging, I mean, there's a lot of one-hit kills they can pull off that you can't.
And this game does it too. I'm looking at the dragon fight now, where like the first couple hits of the combo don't do anything, but that 3rd hit, if you hit him in the right way, like when he jumps on the pole,
looks like he sent him flying at one point.
Yeah,
but
there's just more. It's more visual reactions, even if like they're not like backing off because you smacked them in the face. So it makes the battle feel more like real in a way.
Yeah, and apparently that, according to Airs, that footage was an advertisement. They're trying to get extra funding. I mean, if that's true, that's a good way to do it, to show a very very polished looking game, and
And her,
that got people excited. So
That's probably why they picked snow as the area, because like that first fight with the monkey.
oh, that snow
Uh,
deformation looks
that is
fucking
insane.
ridiculous.
That
Like,
is ridiculous. Like I've never even seen a game even humor that much. It's just
so yeah, and Ninja Theory's only working with Unreal Engine 5, so Hellblade and whatever other games they're working on. Let's hope that they just don't all look the same, because the big element of Unreal Engine 5 is these huge environments you can just quickly create, but they're all like rocky. I haven't really seen a lot of
Enslaved 2.
they're working on like three games based on like mental illness. One, obviously Hellblade was kind of touched on that. One's completely dedicated to that, and then others like a psychological horror game called like Mara. So they're definitely going on.
Sound like
with it.
Enslaved to me.
No, I didn't know they made DMC remake until I was watching the Sphere Hunters analysis of DMC. I didn't know Ninja Theory made that till
I knew that was Ninja Theory. That was probably why people felt some type of way. It's like, oh, it's a reboot. Oh, Ninja Theory's
there's a lot of
it.
listen to her video. There's definitely a lot of weird changes that didn't feel necessary to like carry. I don't know what they were thinking. If that was Capcom,
That game felt like
They do that one.
they low
game.
key wanted to spite. It felt like they wanted to spite DMC fans.
you think it was Capcom pushing those design choices or Ninja Theory?
I think that was Ninja Theory. I would bet money. I think Ninja Theory wanted to make their game distinct from the rest of the DMC franchise, and
That's not what I heard in the "What the fuck happened to this game" episode.
Well, apparently
for
Ninja
you think it's Capcom?
Well, that's what they said in the.
That's crazy.
Was
though.
it true that Ninja Theory workers were replying to tweets and like getting angry at the fans?
Oh, I do remember that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because when the game got announced, it got
That's
bombed.
in the
Like,
episode too.
people dogged the shit out of that game,
Yeah.
rightfully so, mind you. And it felt like at that point, Ninja Theory was not only doing it to prove them wrong, but also out of spite. It felt
Yeah,
like
that's the bad place to be, where you're making something, you're like, fuck you guys, I'm gonna do it this way just to
I mean,
piss
but
you
think
off.
about it. Well, think about it. Let's say you work on a game for like 2 or 3 years. You put out the fucking first trailer for it, and everybody hates it.
Takes a
Yeah.
dump.
And, like
Kojima.
that fucks with a person's ego.
Oh yeah.
So I understand why they got
Completely
defensive.
understand.
It's just not healthy. That's why
I
I
should
it.
link the video. It's a very the Sphere Hunters video is really well done. The only problem I have is she received some negative feedback for, she was trying to be more objective about discussing it, and some really passionate fans were mad at, apparently, for her not hating on it enough or some bullshit. Which, it's stupid, typical internet stuff. But what bothers me is she just spends so much energy talking about it. She's like John Linneman. She just gives them so much attention. She replies to people. She makes
I think the problem is that everyone knows that game's reputation, especially now that we have 5. It's almost like if you make a DMC video and you don't talk shit about it, you've already fucked up.
Yeah.
She was like, I know, but like I like the game. Like, so it just feels sad after a certain point.
As somebody who's only played Devil May Cry 5, I don't know what this fan base is. If they think that story-wise, that game just absolutely makes no sense. It's just silly and ridiculous. And watching Terrell play the first 2 games.
Devil May Cry though.
I don't understand. I told you guys before. Once I finished 2, I'm like, how the fuck did this game get? How did this get a 3rd game? The second game is so fucking bad. It's like
the second game was so ass.
The first game didn't even look that. I mean, back then
the first game is like a hidden gem. Like it's not amazing, but you could see there was a lot of potential there. Yeah. The second game just shit all over that, and then they were like, let's make another one. And I'm like, really?
And to know that the first game started off as a Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true too.
I have probably what people consider the best one. I still sealed in Devil May Cry 4 on the 360. I had never took it out of the plastic. I got it as a 2-pack with Lost Planet, and I played Lost
Send
Planet.
That shit in the water and get it.
Oh God.
Get it graded. that whole grading scene is insane.
Well, Retro
That
Death
shit is
posted a video. He said there was a guy broke it down, said it's all a hoax.
it's all a fucking scam.
Yeah, no one paid $1 million for that Mario 64. There's no way.
No.
So yeah, let's see.
But I mean, even below that level, there are graded games that sell
Yeah,
still
I mean,
really well. They don't sell millions, but they sell thousands and tens of
Yeah,
thousands.
well,
grading really helps like football cards and stuff. And if
Yeah.
if I had a mint condition, none of my boxes is as good as they look. I would even think would even be close to mint because there's
It's
always
a fucking
flaws.
card. A game is meant to be played. That's
Yeah,
right.
but you know that a graded 9.5 or whatever card, like a jersey card or something, gonna get you $300, $400, $500, whereas it outside the grade, even in good conditions, like worth $80. You know, so I get that the grading part, if it's a true grading, like you know, it's a legit certification, you know. For some people, that means something to them. And if I thought I had a game in that condition, maybe I would try to send it out. But, you know, whatever. I'm not really looking to sell.
Why I'm buying up multiple copies of Zombie U, bitch. Deal.
You and the zombie you, and then you gonna be like a zombie rising from the dead with all.
How's 3D All Stars
giant
doing?
wads
Motherfuckers are $8 a pop right now. You better get them bitches while you can.
Yeah, I bought mine used for
$8
$20,
brand new.
and it's like,
Huh?
do I even have it? I don't even know if I have Zombie U anymore. I think I do though.
I never bought it. I remember that.
But
I mean, the game itself ain't worth shit. But like, you can buy,
damn.
you know, you can buy like, you know, what do you call it? Sealed copies of that bitch.
Well, you're buying for the future, obviously.
did
Yeah, I'm buying for
buying
the future. It ain't worth shit now.
the
but
3D All Stars go
that
up
shit
yet?
was worth it.
What's 3D All Stars at? A sealed copy.
3D All-Stars, that's
It's probably still.
$40.
Yeah.
So I did all right.
You probably gonna have to wait a while for that one.
It's gonna be a little while before I sell that shit for
So,
anything.
all right, let's talk about Ghost of Tsushima director's cut and like Robert, you know, he loves ripping on this game. He will not admit he doesn't like.
But
this game.
he doesn't like.
I
it.
never
know he
see
doesn't
him.
Like it.
He was all up in arms because you can't buy on a PS5. You can't log into a PS5, go to the store, and buy the PS4 version. I'm like, why would you be able to buy the PS4 version? Because there's a $10 difference. So I'm like, what happens if somebody goes on, oh, it's $60, buys it, it's like, oh, this is the PS4 version? Oh, I'm fucked. I was like, they can't. It's kind of, it sucks, but I said that's a symptom. The problem is them charging $10 for a slight resolution bump. And quicker loading times. It's not a full-on taking full advantage of the PS5. It's just higher resolution, exact same settings for draw distance, textures, everything's the same. It just runs at a higher resolution, and it loads quicker because it's a native PS5 game. And they think they're going to charge $10 extra versus the very same game on PS4. And if you buy that for $60, I can tell you right now, the 60 frames per second and whatever the PS4 Pro resolution is looks great. Plus, they gave you the best feature for free, which is the lock-on. That's just an update. There's a couple quality of life things they just updated for anybody who has the game. So I was telling Robert, I was like, yeah, you can complain about that PS4 version not being on the store. I said, but the problem is there's a $10 price difference. That's why there isn't the PS4 version. There's no reason for a $70 price version, especially of a PS4 game coming a year later to PS5, and then you have a $10 difference. I said, expect this for Horizon, God of War, and Gran Turismo 7. I guarantee you they're going to be a $10 price difference unless people take a stand now. There's just no reason, if you're going to have a cross-gen game, there's no justification for the $10 difference in price, especially with such a minor upgrade. And it's like, so people are complaining about, well, I can't buy the old version anymore on PS5. Well, you know, go online, find a physical copy for $40. I mean, so I just think it's just, I don't know what it is. I get that, you know, game prices have slowly gone up over time, and Sony felt they could get away with a $70 price. You know, Xbox, who knows? with Game Pass, I don't think they'll ever charge 70 for a physical copy of a game. But I wish people like Brian Altano, I guess I'm buying the game again. Like
What in the fuck?
Chill.
other people just excited to play the
Jesus
game again.
Christ.
And it's like, we went over this already. I feel like the Ghost of Tsushima stuff we covered. Like, I don't mind there being a DLC, an option to for $20 you can get the director's cut
That's
with
fine.
the DLC. What
Yeah,
I don't
that's fine.
like is the $10 difference between PS4 and PS5, especially when there's so minimal of a difference. And Xbox and third parties are doing free upgrades that are more substantial. Doom Eternal. Now, it wasn't a game changer for me, but it's definitely a bigger upgrade. Free. What did Assassin's Creed Odyssey? They just announced they're going to do PS5 and Xbox Series X upgrade for 60 frames per second. There's all these other companies doing more stuff for free. It feels like almost like Nintendo, a version of Nintendo charging full price for ports that are less upgrades over free upgrades on the other systems. So I fully expect, like I said, Horizon, it's going to be 70 on PS5. It's going to be 60 on PS4. God of War, same thing. And I just don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know.
Because they can get away with it. That's the reality.
I don't know if they can, though. You look at the sales, like a lot of people talked about the sales of some of these PS5 games, and they weren't like lighting the world on fire for how many PS5s there are.
Yeah, but Sony's
because
moneymaker was never like their first party. Sony and Xbox never made their money off of first party like that. Sony did better with their first party, but their moneymakers were really always third party games.
But it's also hard to sell games when half the consoles are in scalper closets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes it a little tougher too.
So
I just don't know. Like, I just don't know why they think. I mean, it's one thing too. Like I said, moving forward, completely new 9th gen game. If they want to try to raise the price, but when you have an exact same game coming to your old platform that's $10 cheaper, it just doesn't make any sense in those situations, especially in my opinion. And I just wish more people, because even Digital Foundry, like I say, they're the ones that they don't pull any punches. They don't, they're gonna call out and they called it out. They're like, there isn't much to this PS5 version, and they went through all the pricing structure and how convoluted it is.
Well, they do that intentionally.
So I just don't know, man. I definitely don't plan on paying $70.
What's the problem, man? I remember they defended something similar. I think with the Uncharted remaster, they were like, we can't just push a resolution button. Work goes into this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, everybody accepted that shit back then, so why not accept?
It'd be one thing if it was a trilogy, like if it was, forget the PS4 version, they completely reworked it for a PS5. But the fact that they have the same game coming on the same day to PS4 as well, that's to me where it's like, where's this $10 difference?
Well,
Like,
the irony is that they launched the PS5 doing the same dumb shit with fucking Spider-Man. Oh, let's hide the remaster behind a fucking Ultimate Edition of the game.
yeah, but both versions of the game were the same price for PS4 and PS5, so that was.
Well, yeah, but I still don't like the idea that
I didn't like that either, but
that you can only play this remaster if you buy the Ultimate Edition. If you spend the $70 to get Spider-Man, it's not even the pricing structure on that one. It's the fact that you lock a game behind another game. Actually, that's all you did, and I'm like, why would you do
they
that?
solved that with this, because for $20 I can make my PS4 the director's cut and get the DLC, which it seems like it's pretty substantial. Not necessarily didn't sound that appealing, but for $20 for DLC, that's not like unheard of price wise. So you have the option to get the DLC without rebuying the game. So at least that was different than Miles Morales. So for $20 I can have the director's cut on PS4.
I just thought there was a better way you could have handled it. I feel like
definitely the Spider-Man remaster, that should have been, that was work done to it, but come on, man, other companies doing more. Like Square, of all people, did Final Fantasy VII Remake. Is probably, I'd say, right there with Gears 5 as the most upgraded visuals for a game, and that you got that for free if you have the physical version on PS4 version. Now, if you wanted the Yuffie DLC, you had to buy the PS5 through the PS5. But if you just wanted the visual upgrade, it was free if you had a PS5, and that was a significant like overhaul compared to Ghost. It's like, I mean, it's like 10 times the work that must have went into it. Like, it's significantly more. I would say Ghost of Tsushima's PS5 upgrades it's probably right there with Hellblade. It's very minimal. Probably
You
even.
think you think they're gonna do something with Last of Us 2 then?
I don't know. If they did, I don't expect a PS4 version, but we'll see. That's really where I don't know why it bugs me the most is the $10 difference in price. I don't care if they want to resell games on PS5. Let's say like they do a Last of Us remaster, and it's just PS5 only. Like, and resell the game. Here's a physical version of Last of Us Part 2 for PS5. I don't really care about that as much as what they're doing, where they're basically relaunching the game, and they have the cross-gen strategy still in place, where it's like, why have the PS4 version of the director's cut? Like, I don't know. To me, it's just like, move
I think
on.
because they're trying to. I think the idea is to maximize profit. Like, we'll get the ones who, because they know everybody can't buy a PS5 right now. We'll get people on the PS. We'll get people on the PS4.
But it feels like if somebody really wanted to play Ghost of Tsushima, they would have played it by now. And it's basically it's a Game of the Year edition
I haven't played it yet.
Or a complete edition, but they didn't have the DLC out first. It's like the DLC is launching the same day as the complete edition, which is kind of weird. I think Control did that with the second DLC, where the Ultimate Edition was out the same time as the second DLC. It's like, release the DLC to your however millions of people own Ghost of Tsushima. Release the DLC, let them get the DLC, and then say, now if you have PS5 and you want Ghost of Tsushima PS5 version, here's the game with the DLC for $60.
Well, that one always aggravated me, because I'm like, I already had, because you could buy the DLC in advance. So if I decided to support you and buy the DLC in advance because I like the game so much, and your response to me was, well, you know what we're gonna do, that second DLC, we're gonna have a better version of the game that includes the DLC come out the same day as the DLC. And I'm just like,
for the price you paid, basically.
And I'm like,
for the DLC. Well, the DLC is $25. The season pass is $25 by itself. And before that second one even hits, you release a $40 version that comes with everything.
I'm at the very least, you could at least gave me the damn DLC before everybody else, because I already paid for it. Nah, fuck that.
So what do you think?
True. What was Control? Control was $40 as anime rappers, and at least it was only $40.
But that actually made it worse, because I paid $25 for the DLC before I even got to play it. Here's a $40 version of the game. Like, to me, that almost made it worse. It devalued my season pass that I spent money on, So
that sucks.
So this is kind of a debacle. I really hope people. I haven't seen a lot, but I hope this, because Sony has responded to some other, the PS3 store shut down. Like, they've responded to stuff. I think they would. If people are like, hey, I ain't paying $10 difference for the same game, and Horizon's gonna do the same shit. They might even take it a step further, where if you buy the PS4 version and play it on your PS5, there probably won't be a 60 frames per second option. You'll have to buy the PS5 version for that, because at least with Ghost, I can play it
Zero Dawn?
Forbidden West.
Oh.
Because Ghost of Tsushima, I can play the PS4 version with the PS4 Pro resolution at 60.
That's a new game, though.
I know, but I'm saying with Forbidden West, are they going to lock a 60 FPS mode just to the PS5 version to help try to make the value seem higher? Because if they don't, I'd consider buying the PS4 version if that runs at 60 on PS5, unless, it's some significant visual changes. But I don't know. It's just kind of weird. I think the game should be the same price on both platforms. That's just
this is why for decades PC gamers been laughing at our ass.
I
know. We're finally getting a taste of this whole upgrade thing, and they're just like, motherfucker, we got upgrades, mods, all this shit for free. We ain't got to think about none of it.
Every once in a while, they'll get a remaster like you have to buy. Like that isn't a free update.
Yeah, like Observer. I think Observer, you have to buy like the new game to get the upgrade on PC. But it's rare. That is rare.
Yeah, because what was it? Quake 2.
I went back, Tomb Raider Legend, and I added all the mods. That looked like a new fucking game. That shit looks gorgeous. That shit looks gorgeous.
Because that Quake,
like a modern looking game now.
Quake that just launched allows for mods. I think the Switch version too, PS4 or PS5, whatever. They allow mods. Well, Quake 2 got a free ray tracing update like last year or 2 years ago. You had to download a completely different version of the game, but it was free if you had that on in your library, and you had a ray tracing capable card, and it looked phenomenal. That was a lot. Like literally, that was years worth of work to get that running with ray tracing. Like that was a lot of work, and that was a free upgrade. So I hate to see this kind of stuff, just like I hate seeing Nintendo charging full price for ports with minimal improvements, and I don't want to see if it was just the cross-gen games, $60 both, maybe. I mean, I'm still torn about the whole price of games anyway, like $70. I haven't bought a $70 game. I don't really intend to, even though I did on the N64. I paid $69.99 for NFL Quarterback Club 98.
Woo,
it was what,
Club 98.
that's what so eventually the standard price for games is going to hit 70 across the board. Steam, everybody, that's just going to happen eventually. But
how much you paid for it?
$69.99. Yeah, it was what I think it was the most third-party games, unless it was
that bitch ain't worth $9.99 today.
It was trash, man. We tried to make the most out of it. A couple third shift guys I work with, we'd play it and try to make the most out of it, but you couldn't run the ball. If you got 2 yards, it was like a long run.
We had a discussion about it before. It was a couple years ago, I think.
You just start running, you're just tackled immediately. As soon as they touch you, you're tackled. But so we got the Switch tax with physical games, and that makes a little more sense because the price of memory and stuff in the cartridges is more expensive. I mean, it sucks, but even Hades is affected by it because physical on PS5 was $29 and it's $34.99 on Switch, so it's $5 difference. There was games that were $10.
Switch tax still exists, huh?
So I don't know if Sony thinks they're gonna get this PS5 tax, but we'll see. I like I said, I don't plan on. There's no game that I have to have like day one that's in the works. Well, God of War Ragnarok would be the closest to me even considering that, but I'm just gonna vote with my wallet. I'm gonna wait for at least a $10 price drop or a sale or something because I just can't. I don't know. It's played like Dark Souls. Yeah, it was as hard as Dark Souls. I remember I had one run one time in all the times I played it where I did a spin, I broke a tackle, and I made like a 12-yard touchdown run. It felt like the greatest achievement in my life.
They breathe on your ass and you get tackled in that fucking game.
I don't know what the hell we're talking about, but
I'm just chilling.
Quarterback Club for N64. Boy.
I should look up some footage of that. I haven't played that game since probably maybe 2000, probably the last time I played it.
I played it probably a couple years ago. That's just hilarious.
It looked amazing. The back cover art was like...
Yeah, I was going to say, visually, that's what sold me on the game. That bitch looked so good.
It didn't look as good as the cover. The back pictures were straight out of PC development kits.
Bullshotting and fucking... They used to bullshot the screenshots in magazines and in fucking covers. I'm like, that shit does not look that good on my CRT.
It didn't even look that good on... Like, football games didn't look that good until the 360. That's how misrepresented those photos were. Like there was shadows from the stadium, like on the field, like from the sun.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, that ain't in this game.
You remember that fucking? I shared this months ago. I shared on Twitter, I think, a picture of a bullshot ass article for Madden. I think it was like Madden '06 for 360. I'm like,
Yeah.
that shit don't look like that. That shit was clean. What?
Well,
I'm
did
like,
you
that shit
see
does not look
the
like that.
development kit screenshots of Mario 64 back in the day?
That's what it is. Development kit screenshots.
Yeah.
Like raw ass images.
Mhm.
Like, get that shit out of here.
That's why I tried to talk to Clock that got a little mad at me. I was like, as a developer of making these games, you don't want to see your game end up blurry and low res in the final product. When you're making the game, it looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of
that shit
proof.
looks
Like,
great.
you know,
That shit has extra RAM in it. That shit looks great.
But that was just, you know, the TV technology wasn't great, but those systems weren't even hitting max TV CRT resolution until GameCube, I think. Xbox finally started.
Go back and look in those magazines and tell me those games looked that fucking good back then.
Donkey Kong Country had like those pre-rendered.
Oh man,
they were promoting like, oh my god, like these 3D look like no
Everybody was
jaggies.
bullshit.
That shit looked amazing. But anyway, let's talk about Pokemon.
Pokemon,
And
gotta catch 'em all.
I skimmed through. I watched 2 reactions, and so I saw parts of the, you know, the mobile game, whatever else they're promoting, mobile games, the
I ain't get by none of that shit.
remakes.
I skipped all through that shit.
Funny enough, I watched 2 reactions, like I said in the beginning. Terrell's the only one's reaction I'd love to see, and he didn't do one. I watched 2.
I should have waited. That's what I
2
should've did.
reactions. I watched Alana Pierce and Just Jess, and both of them.
How was Alana's?
Both of them nitpicked
Yeah.
the graphics the whole time.
Man,
I don't know what it is. Is that's just the trend thing to do? Is rip the visuals for Pokemon Legends? But
Bitch, it's Pokemon. What the fuck?
Yeah,
Have
you
you
say
seen-
that, but you haven't been in the Pokemon community.
have you
Jesus
seen
Christ.
their past games? Like, to me, this is like a huge leap for them.
It's a huge leap from what they usually do. Like, what
So-
the fuck?
I was impressed, and I'm the biggest. I wouldn't say Pokemon hater. I just don't care about the series. I really haven't for 25
You're the least
years.
interested. You're the least.
And I
interested.
see this trailer. I'm like, holy shit, they did that. Oh, you can ride a Pokemon. You can fly. Oh, you can ride a mount. You can in water. Like, wow.
Yeah, bitch, you can't even fly in Breath of the Wild, bro.
Like, you're creeping through the grass. I don't know if the Pokeball thing's automatic, because sometimes it looked like it was way off target. I'm like, how could you miss?
No, well, you mean in terms of catching or battling?
It was a catching one, and it looked
Catch,
like
yeah.
he dodged,
There's
rolled,
probably-
and then threw it, and it was like it wasn't even close.
Yeah, there's probably a little bit of leniency with it, I would assume.
But I was like, holy shit! Like this, they really went in with this. Like they didn't just this, and then you saw all the NPCs. You saw the just the scale of the world and stuff. I'm like, holy shit! Like I did not expect them, even off that first trailer. I didn't expect them to go this far. Oh, I don't know how far it strays from the formula, the actual gameplay and stuff. But the world is like,
kind of.
I don't know, man.
It's
I was
different.
I was very impressed. Yeah, it's not the
Yeah,
prettiest.
My expectations were kind of low because I was like, I don't trust y'all, man. I don't know.
he was like,
Pokemon Company, man, you tricked me before. I don't know if I can trust. But I was also like, there's no way this game's coming out in January. They gave a fucking day.
Yeah.
So they're definitely ready to go.
Well,
So-
it's a different. Shit. We're watching an ad. God damn you, Wendy's.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
I want some nugs now.
You want some? Give me the nugs.
I was playing Rocket League, and there was a two squad, and one was like six piece nuggies, and the other was a 12-piece nuggies or 20 piece. So yeah, this isn't like, this isn't the most advanced rendering, and the water's not like looking amazing, but it's a huge open world Pokemon game.
Also,
with,
one of
like,
the few Pokemon. This is one of the few Nintendo games that doesn't have a bunch of anti-aliasing.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, the grass is looking a little. Yeah, I can see. that
It's animated.
but why?
Cartoon
I don't know why some people are taking it so far where it's the basically all they talk about in their reaction. Like, I couldn't believe it.
I
So
don't
because
see
because
one
people
instance of
because you
poetry.
gotta understand the Pokemon fan
Someone
base
that
is
saw
petty
it.
as fuck.
yeah,
The Pokemon fan base is petty as fuck.
Are
It's,
they?
well,
What,
look at that
especially like
shot.
always
Look at that shot right
ever
there. Like,
ever since I would say probably Sword and Shield.
I
Sword
was
and
gonna
Shield
say
probably
Sword and
was
Shield
the
seemed like the one that did it.
all
Sword
right.
and Shield was the granted people had their issues before, but Sword and Shield kind of broke the camel's back for a lot of
Yeah.
people.
So Terrell, just walk me through what your thought process was watching this trailer. Like
So
your reaction,
I,
recreate it.
it's so okay. Well, like I don't know if I don't think we were recording, but I was working and I was driving. And I was like, I don't really give a fuck about the remakes. I'll give the remakes credit. The remakes look way better than they did the first trailer. So GG's to the remakes. And they look like they're gonna keep all the shit. This is how they should have just done remakes moving forward and have a separate team do them.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ. But so the trailer for this bitch starts, and I'm like, fuck me.
I'm
I'm
gonna start it
driving.
over.
Please don't let this internet cut out. Internet cut out like half, like in the first few seconds. I went, no. And I didn't want to backpedal. I wanted to keep watching it. So I missed like the beginning section with like the overview of like the landscapes and shit. I think my connection came back on like around here with the water, and we start seeing this. The coolest things to me is that even Pokemon of the same species don't act the same way. That shit is fucking awesome to me because it never made any sense that like every Swellow or every Pikachu or every fucking like a Geodude acted the same. These are different now because the context of this game is that this game takes place before the modern like catch and maul mantra. Like you're actually your goal in this game is to make the first Pokédex, which is the first like actual categorized list of mons and their and everything. I was just blown away that they were willing to have the player be attacked. Blacking out, by the way, is something that's been in the game since the beginning, but it's never really come up that often because it only happens in the games when you lose all your Pokemon. Here, it can happen if you get your ass whooped.
What's up with this Growlithe? Is that how they always look?
No.
No.
So they did I would say Gen 6 to 7 started the idea of having regional variants where depending on what region you're in, certain mons would look different. That's what that Growlithe is.
So what do you think when you saw this taken to flight and just
I
soaring?
was fucking I was shook
What is
when
that
they had
that's
you riding the
flying?
Stantler. The fucking Stantler. I'm like, whoa, what we playing these games? Or the fucking Basculin evolution. Jesus Christ. I am surprised they have me. And it's not like that gimmicky you ride it for 5 seconds and then you kick
Yeah,
off.
this looks like full riding freedom.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is the flight limited?
I don't really see why it would be.
It looks like it's got a day and night cycle too.
My question is, do I have to catch the Stantler first, or is that like set up in a cutscene?
Yeah.
What about this bear-looking guy? He's like,
oh, that's
I
Ursaring.
like the real time. Maybe that. Do you dodge it to avoid a battle or what?
No. This is the blacking out thing I talk about. If you get hit too many times by these things, you will black out, and you have to go back to camp.
Oh, okay.
So like in the original games, blacking out only happened when your whole team was dead. Here it's like when you get knocked the fuck out. I like the fact that you can finally, when you're walking up to a mon, you don't have to touch it to trigger the battle. You can just throw the ball in advance. And I'm like, oh, that's fucking nuts. It trips me out that that's nuts because that's something that technically has been going on since the first game. But this is the first time they've actually addressed it the way it was supposed to be addressed, where I run up to a mon, I throw out my mon, and we just fight. That's the other thing. There's no like, like there's no transitions. It just fucking goes right into it. I imagine this. It's fast paced as fuck. It looked great. I'm glad they chose certain starters because my boy Cyndaquil hasn't gotten enough love since Gen 2.
I kind of wish the game looked like this, to be honest, like the anime.
I wonder if this is just promotional.
It is. Like, I think it might be like even a cutscene.
Well, because it zooms into the box.
Like says the game looks good, but not one of the biggest franchises on the planet good. I get you. You're not wrong.
No, you're
But
not. But
we are talking about the Switch here. Like there's only so much you're going to be able to accomplish.
Well, I think my
Nintendo
only,
Switch.
I'll tell you this, I have one worry, and that's because the premise of the game is just based around catching Pokemon.
yeah, they said there's no
There's no,
online
well,
battles.
and it makes sense because there's no gyms. There wouldn't be gyms yet if this is the first time people are actually going out and catching Pokemon, which is what they're going with. And I get it. That's what kind of gives it its Breath of the Wild nature. These are like wild ass animals that we just thought, you know what, let's see if we can catch these fuckers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the person who thought the first person who thought that should make a zoo and didn't realize it's gonna be a pain in the ass for some of these motherfuckers.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like it conceptually. I just don't know how interesting it's going to be or how long the game is. Because like catching mons has always been a part of
that. That's gonna be long for me.
well, the exploration will keep me interested.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
watching them like jump over the river on the mount, whatever it's called.
And it'll already keep its interest because it works with Pokemon Home, which is the bank system for mons. So any mons you catch in this game, you can transfer into like Galar and then use as like competitive battling if you care to do that, or just to keep the fuckers so you don't lose them. I am thoroughly impressed. My only concern is literally just the fact that you're only catching mons. But they also hit the story, which Pokemon rarely does because Pokemon never has a story. So we'll see. But my only concern is just whether or not the main mechanic is going to entertain me the whole time. But like I said, the exploration will do a good buffer between that if the plot isn't interesting.
They drop a surprisingly good story on me. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
What do you think?
And here's the thing: it's a spin-off game technically.
Yeah.
So it's obvious that they're using this to test the waters for the next mainline game. So if this does well, I very much look forward to seeing them do this again by adding like gyms and towns and like a fully realized world.
Do you think those NPCs are gonna be like? Because that was always a complaint I heard when Sword and Shield came out. Like, why is there no NPCs still? Why is it only the ones you see or this? Like, there's like a certain type of NPC you run into, and it's always the same.
Let me explain. That's a complaint that doesn't make that. I understood where they were coming from. There weren't as many people as you thought they would be, but there were still people in the towns that you could interact. And I think in the presentation they said you can take quests and shit, which I'm 100% down for. So
I'd be fine just like, hey, go check out this region and see what Pokemon you can, like. I don't mind being like an explorer finding these Pokemons for the first time. To me, that sounds way more interesting.
Well, for you, I was like, for you, since you don't have as much knowledge, I imagine this will be entertaining as hell for you.
Yeah.
But seeing them creep through the grass, real time, like Pokemon moving, like, I don't know, and like the whole Breath of the Wild vibes. I don't know how the whole world's connected, if it's just one seamless thing, or if you have to transport, because it has that mountain, that volcano in like every shot, so it's, all the areas must be connected.
Yeah, I don't see them split. The way they'll probably split it up is by like nature. That's the reason why you might need certain mons to ride or glide with.
Yeah,
is that some areas you can't traverse the land, and it's not Zelda where you can climb. So it's like, well, fuck, we need a mon to like get me through this area.
And yeah, I get what people are saying. Yes, if this looked like what the Everwild, the rare game that's not really a game, if this looked like Everwild visuals, yeah, that would be fucking amazing, with a Pokemon franchise. If the Switch 3 probably gets to that point, yeah, it's gonna look way better. But we gotta talk about this. Is Pokemon, this Game Freak, for them, this is like, you can't expect it to look better than Breath of the Wild 2. Like, this is their first foray into the big open, and they had, unless they used the Breath of the Wild engine, they didn't have a game engine that was capable of doing this. I mean,
no.
Sword and Shield could barely do the open wilds at a decent frame rate. This looks pretty solid.
You got to accept steps. Now you can't just like because I was one, and a lot of other people were complaining about the visuals for Sword and Shield.
Yeah, let me bring up Sword and Shield real quick.
This is clearly better than that. You can't like be like, oh, it's still not good enough. You got to accept that it is actually, you know, art style wise and just visual wise,
So
a step up.
I also,
And
I
you got
also,
to
want,
accept that, you know.
I also want to make a point here. This is like one of the first spin-offs that Game Freak has developed. Everything that the other spin-offs that people
Right.
like Coliseum, XD, Battle Revolution, Stadium, even like the small shit like Conquest, fucking Hoken Tournament, all those were like
And
even Snap. They're all like
Snap,
third
yeah.
party developed games. This is the first like major spinoff that looks like has a decent amount of effort
But
behind
look at
it
this.
that was
Look at the
made.
difference. Sorry to cut you off. Look at the difference in the Sword and Shield open wilds versus what you just saw in. Oh, it's now it switched. But it's just
Well,
it definitely.
it's still the same area. It's the same area.
Yeah, but the time of day change and stuff.
And also, people got to realize, like, Sword and Shield's what, 3
Yeah,
years
but
old?
look at this. Doesn't even look close. There's hardly anything in the world, and
Nothing interesting.
just like very. I don't know the scale and everything.
Ironically enough, I'll say this though: the DLC for Sword and Shield has better level design and
Look at how
looks
this
better.
like this bike just feels like it's hovering over the like it doesn't really feel like it's interacting at all. Like,
Skating.
but I mean, you can't tell me that Legend isn't an upgrade over this. What?
So I think the problem is that people don't care. I think people don't. It's not that people disagree with you.
What's
It's
the
that
area called? The Frozen.
People. Oh no. Yeah, the Wild Tundra.
I'll bring that up.
Crown Tundra. My bad.
Crown Tundra.
My brain was gonna say Frozen
I don't
Tundra,
know.
which probably would have made more sense. Yeah,
What
skip.
Air's point is there? Can you?
And it's
figure
not
out?
like get past this. It's like cutscene bullshit.
I mean, it doesn't even look close. Like as far as like this looks like a handheld game that got put into HD. In comparison to me, it's night and day versus
I think my main thing
Legends.
is that
In
because my main thing was this. I was never someone who was like a stickler about like having open areas in Pokemon games. But I said if you were gonna do it, like do it well. To me, the wild area in the base game is fucking trash because it's flat land with like minor hills and shit. The Frozen Tundra, at least to me, had like cliffs and shit that you could actually. It had elevation. That was like my big thing. I'm like, bruh, you're on a mountain. Why I feel like I'm just riding up one side of the hill? That's bullshit.
Because this is just like the same tree over. Like this to me, this to say that Legends to deny that
I would never make a
huge,
bold claim to that,
a fairly big leap of the graphics engine for sure.
I think realistically they worked on a new engine, and Arceus is the first time they're using it, which to me gets me excited because that's just a spin-off game. So when they actually put it in like a mainstay Pokemon, I very much look forward to like seeing what a mainstay game will look like with that graphics engine after they further improved it. And that shit looks smooth from what I think. The trailer's in 60 frames, I think. That's what threw me off.
Yeah, I don't think the game's running, but for whatever reason, the trailer was uploaded at 60.
And it threw me off because I'm like, is it 60?
Well, this looks pretty good, though.
It has good aesthetics.
I think there's good in there.
Well, this is
environment here.
This is on PC with texture.
Oh no, yeah,
packs.
I saw it's YouTube. Yeah, it's YouTube. But
this is what it could look like. This is what it could look like.
Because I'm looking at this little tiny window. I'm like,
I'm just saying aesthetically.
Well, let's get to an area. Of course, this is all chalking to fucking NPCs.
Yeah, this is all the forest kind of.
Yeah, but it's
the other thing is that Galar, and it's kind of what the last 3 generations have suffered from, is this fucking corridor level design. That's one of the reasons why people like the wild area in general anyway, because it was like, bruh, you made all the main routes hallways. I'm just going straight the whole fucking time. So the fact that you start doing open world, I'm cool with it. Just, make it fucking interesting. And to me, the Pokemon were a thing that needed to change a while ago. Where like you have these variations in Mons, but in 3, see, this is a DLC area. some of these look better. I think these look better than the base game.
Yeah.
This is a little,
But I'm very much looking forward to Legends. Let me see. I think Legends is just a handheld focused experience of Sword and Shield. Not really.
I don't see that.
Can't play Nintendo games on Steam Deck. Wait.
You'll have trouble running. Yuzu's pretty. It's still early, but
Yeah, I wouldn't.
it doesn't.
wouldn't think Yuzu would
Games
run
need a lot of
well.
work to actually run decently.
I mean,
Well,
I guess.
I wouldn't do it if it ran good.
Yeah, but point is, their past game, it wasn't that long ago to this new one. It's a pretty big leap for them in scale and everything. So I don't see the nitpicking. And like T said, it's on the Switch. Like, this isn't, nothing changed hardware wise. Yes, Breath of the Wild 2 is probably going to look better, or it's going to look better. There's probably no doubt about it.
Even the remakes. I was surprised how well some of the shots in that game look. Hold on.
I don't expect Monolith Sauce game to look, significantly better than Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which had some rough areas, like I said last week, especially in handheld.
I mean, Xenoblade Chronicles, pop in and all kinds of shit.
The
Like,
Xenoblade Chronicles remake didn't even look that impressive, I didn't think.
It just looked cleaned up. That's why I looked at. That's
It
why I
did,
looked at
but
that.
I expected a Wii game to be on Switch like 3 generations later to be much more of a visual improvement. I mean, I didn't play it firsthand, but looking at it on YouTube, I didn't think it was as significant as some people were saying it was a remake. I'm like, it's obviously a remaster.
Well, the only thing that gives it a remake look
The character models.
is because they did what they did to the models.
It's just like a anime style cartoon instead of the
Yeah.
terrible
low
texture like 3D
They went
models.
with the Xenoblade 2 style, essentially.
That's a smart choice for sure.
Because they're more visually appealing.
I just would love.
These stuff don't hold up.
Listen, I like Shulk, but Shulk looked like ass.
He
in the
looks.
original game.
Yeah, he looked like.
Oh, yeah,
so did
It looked like you hit that man in the jaw and his
So
jaw
does
fell
his
off.
girl that.
Shit.
Especially the 3DS version. My God.
What's the girl's name? His first girl.
Damn it! What is her name?
Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah.
It'd be crazy if
her
I
name?
thought of it
Hold on.
first.
Fucking-
God, it was just on the tip of my tongue. Was it
No,
L?
hold on.
What?
It's
Oh my God.
I can think of Ryan.
Who's gonna
I can
think of it
Ryan,
first?
but I can't think of the girl.
I'm cheap.
It's like a
can't
T.
remember.
I know it starts with a T.
I was
or
thinking
something.
T or L.
Had a visitor.
Yeah.
My mom always
Fiona.
does assumption. There you go.
You. Was it
Oh
Fiona
my
or
God.
Fiora? Sorry, I said Fiona, but I was close.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, Fiona did.
I played it the least, and I was the first one to
I
think of
wanted to
it.
call it
You know
Fiona
why?
too, but it's
Because
like, that's
technically, because listen, I'm a Xenoblade 2 stan. All right, I'll
Yeah.
openly admit that I ain't shit. Okay, I want that
we
to be
know.
said.
She looked
Hey,
pretty
shut
bad
the
too.
fuck up, T. Damn.
So either way, this is the first.
I'm an X-stan, so what can I say?
This is Pokemon Legends Arceus is the first Pokemon game that caught my eye in their entire history of Pokemon games.
And all these considered, it's a good way to start 2022. Dead ass.
Yeah.
It's
That's
early.
That's a hard open, dog. to
Yeah.
fucking
I'm
start.
never gonna call it Arceus, by the way, because that's not how you spell Arceus.
I know,
All
but
right,
Like, as
Arceus
an English major,
sounds
that
retarded.
bothered me.
I figured you were gonna say something about it.
so
I would need to know
January
I give-
28th. There ain't gonna be much else probably coming out in January 28th.
I give them credit for even going that early because usually Pokemon games usually hang in the holidays.
I think they want to hit that 20-30 million before the end of March. I think that's a big part of it.
I mean that.
Nintendo had that goal of 30 million. I think they want to hit it, and they're gonna have a chance.
I mean that's a pretty.
Switches from March
Oh,
2021 to 2022. So,
Yeah.
because they really, I mean, as many, people as much as we think Metroid Dread's gonna sell, the remakes aren't. I mean, I don't think they're gonna really boost Switch sales too much.
They'll do well.
They'll sell,
I mean,
but I don't think they're gonna push new system sales
they're not gonna pull
compared to
they're
that
not gonna
new
push this
5 to 10.
that new
That's a
Switch
big
Lite
deal.
for for the remakes.
Well, and then you got the smaller titles like Advance Wars in December. So like,
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna do much for.
That's not gonna do a lot, but it's still like, my thing is that Nintendo at least is trying to keep that holiday momentum into January.
You got WarioWare, you got the Mario Party, Metroid.
And then you have Dread right after it. And then you're riding the Pokemon.
I forgot to download the demo for WarioWare, but Nintendo Life said it's like one of the best co-op games on the Switch, just the demo by itself.
Damn.
I'm intrigued because I bought 2 of them. I had the original and Twisted, and I haven't owned one since. If it turns out to be a really good game, I don't have a problem picking it up. I mean, it wasn't like super sexy, exciting announcement at E3, but it's still.
It's also not fucking $60 anyway.
You don't have a game in Wario? That game is up there in price.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm surprised.
I think
it's kind
Pokemon.
Of rare Nintendo didn't ship that many of them, so.
I think Pokemon Legends is guaranteed 20 million sellers. By the way.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
I
especially if they find out you can do some crazy shit like you can do in Breath of the Wild, man. The community for that game will just be built off of doing ridiculous shit.
I don't think it's gonna have you're gonna be discovering cool stuff to do 4 years later. Like people are still discovering. Like you can build a fire underneath a honeycomb and the bees will go away from the smoke or something. Like
that's ridiculous, by the way.
Like that shit's just like they ain't gonna have that.
B-Wild killing me in the chat.
That's one of those things that just gets you fucking. I if nothing else, I gotta respect the fucking. The fucking the development team gets a lot of respect from me just for that.
Yeah,
because that's dumb shit you don't even need to put in the game.
No,
but I think realistically, Breath of the Wild is going to be the base model for Zelda games, probably moving forward, at least for the next couple of games.
I was going to say probably for the next 10 years.
Breath of the Wild
it's the next Ocarina of Time. Then.
Yeah, basically. That's what Breath of the Wild is Ocarina of Time.
I mean, Nintendo's done it before, but to follow up Breath of the Wild, man, like, when have we ever had a direct Zelda sequel? It was Majora's Mask. It was directly after, but it went in a different direction. But
no, it was the direct sequel, though.
It was. But this feels like you're still, I don't know, more of a sequel. It was like
Zelda 1 and 2.
So it's like, how can it live up? How can it live up to Breath of the Wild? What other little things can they add to this game that people will be discovering, or is that going to be gone from this game? You just have to take it and it's whatever new story wise and gameplay wise. I don't know. It's going to continue adding these.
The fact that some of the fucking abilities are so weird, like the weird flying into the rocks and shit as like a form of teleportation.
Yeah, I'd love some underwater. I mean, not sound like Retro Death. I'm not even being funny. That's where they could. They could add some really cool little elements that you didn't think of until you do it. Somebody finds out, like in some underwater exploration and stuff. Like, I don't know. There could be some really cool stuff if they go that route. They might not though. They might stay away from the. That's a whole new.
I'll just say Nintendo, at least for the next few months, is going to be very interesting. And then we'll hit fucking next year and be like, damn, okay.
They showed off more Dread. I know that some people don't like that, but everything they've released,
I saw Dread. That was.
It looks good.
He needs to stop fucking around. You need to chill out.
I'm trying not to watch too much Dread.
I feel like T's gonna have an aneurysm. Be like, what is this shit?
It just makes me want to play it more. It's like, but
I don't want to see any Dread shit until I play the bitch.
Also, apparently Gamescom starts tomorrow. I think Xbox has their 90-minute show.
Really?
They're doing it? Oh yeah, wait till Gamescom. Says Xbox fans.
We'll get this.
Okay.
I know Jeff Keighley had a show, and his lineup was like the new Call of Duty, Death Stranding Director's Cut. It was like the most embarrassing list for me. It was the most ridiculous list. Like, who cares? Come here.
Well, no one does, but you gotta listen. If you're getting paid to do something, you gotta.
Of course, he's gonna have Death Stranding though.
Airs. When
Death Stranding is just it's the dick sucking.
20 million copies. You owe me you're gonna have to buy me a free copy of something.
I mean, if Let's Go can sell like 15 million, whatever it sold, as a remake that was like motion only, one controller,
Yeah, like
unless you're in portable mode, you could use the. It's not even close.
We're gonna be right about this. It's gonna sell 20 mil easy,
guaranteed. So I think that's about it. I don't think there's really anything else. No Switch updates, no stability updates that I know of since the.
Nah, I didn't see anything. Hold on.
PlayStation hasn't officially released.
Whoever people talking about.
Oh, the only thing is that
Game Boy Advance coming and all this shit to the Switch and.
oh, we're not having that
It's been
conversation.
into for 3 years, but
The only other thing of note that I care about mentioning is that No More Heroes comes out Friday.
Oh yeah.
No More Heroes 3. I can't believe it.
And I found out something very interesting watching Game Explain do like a good 30 to 40 minutes of it. The actual combat it runs at 60, but the damn open world runs at 30. And because I was like, why does it? I was like, why does it look
weird,
smooth?
but yet acceptable?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
That's not a bad compromise, really.
Yeah,
because I was like, why does the fucking combat look so smooth when he's driving at like 20 frames per second? I'm like, oh.
I mean, I haven't looked up No More Heroes footage since E3, so.
They just, I know recently Game Explain put out some footage today and did like the
There's
first
a live stream. Let's see, 3 hours ago. This game is wild, so I don't know who this person is. I'll click on the video, though. I'll wait for the ad to end.
Fucking ads.
Oh yeah, Visor Grunt said we're in rumored Nintendo Direct season right now.
I seen one for Sony State of Play last week. Someone said it was happening, and it never did. They're gonna show God of War,
We never saw it.
They're trying to do that with the Sony fans, huh? Try to hype them up.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even see the beginning. I didn't see the whole beginning.
God, I just
has there been a State of Play that's been that good that you even give a shit about State of Play?
There was like one that got.
I thought the last 3 have been solid, but nothing like, oh my god, like.
I can't wait for the next State of Play. Like that's not a thing. That's not a thing.
Yeah, Sony never does that for their State of Play.
I'm excited when they announce one like the day in advance.
Oh,
but I'm not
Horizon
like,
one.
I'm not like
we're happy about.
I'm not like chomping at the bit like with Nintendo Directs back a few years back. What is with this character design?
So Suda said instead of fighting humans, we're fighting aliens.
I know, but it's so.
Suited, man. What do you want?
You have to kind of go into this recognizing.
There's some charm to it, but at the same time, it's things I don't like about.
It's kind of ridiculous just in the little bit. It also takes place.
It doesn't look too far away from a Wii game at times, but other areas, it looks pretty decent.
Well, if you skip ahead a little bit, you'll get to the gameplay. That'll be a better.
Who's this dude? Where's Travis?
It's Travis. That's Travis.
Is it? Why does he look different?
Yeah,
because he's older and he retired.
He let himself go a little bit,
and then he looks normal once you do the cutscene. Also, Jean is a boy, and I'm mortified. The cat is a boy, and I'm sad. Why did you name Jean?
Does look really smooth. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus Christ. Especially when you look at the car scenes later on, and it's like, oh no, fucking run around killing shit.
I'll take it.
I'm like, the combat in No More Heroes. The best thing about No More Heroes is the combat. I mean, obviously the goofiness,
combat, right?
The goofiness is great, but if you get the combat good, I'm pretty much fine. I can kind of tolerate.
I was watching it on the wrong screen. I was watching at 30 on the stream instead of directly on my computer.
It's like it's on your computer. You're like, fuck, why is this running so slow? And I like that smooth to me.
It looks better to me.
I would say it's improved a lot. Although this is the tutorial section, so he like in a minute he's gonna do the name drop of the game in a second. But first he's gonna break open a door.
I mean, it kind of gives me Wonderful 101 vibes, how plasticky everything looks. But
isn't this Unreal Engine 4 if I remember correctly?
So. Probably not the best choice for Switch, but I mean,
it
doesn't look as bad as I thought at the E3 trailer. And he is a small team, so.
Well, I appreciate the dedication.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down with it.
Yeah, actually, since they did like a good hour of it, I looked at like the first boss because that one's been shown off in cutscenes. Also, for some reason, this soundtrack is god tier. I think I
soundtrack, yeah.
I think I posted the sushi song in the fucking chat. What was
I
it?
don't see any driving in this.
I think this is the first assassin stuff. So this is
You
all.
want to know what also went up in price?
What?
Is Travis Strikes Again.
Oh, really?
Did it?
That's just like over $100 now, bro.
Really?
This looks so much
That's
better than that
crazy.
game. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
That's crazy to me, dog. I didn't think that game would go up that
I was
high.
like,
in price.
I thought that game was gonna be in the bargain bin.
Wow, even Kevin Kenson has a Psychonauts 2 review. He said it's simply incredible.
So if nothing
can't wait.
else, so here's the good news, Steve. If Halo is trash, at least Psychonauts 2 came out this
At least,
year.
yeah, exactly. At least,
And it was great. And it was great.
Hmm.
I mean, we know Halo's multiplayer is good.
And we know
So-
Forza Horizon 5 is probably going to be stellar. Well, I'm
Yeah.
pretty confident. I wonder if Alana's nitpicking this game's visuals like she was the Pokemon
What game?
Psychonauts.
You were the one who liked Lana the most. Anyway.
I don't mind her opinions a lot of times. I just that was a little. I don't watch a lot of her.
She's one of them.
You be hate watching them on the.
She's one of them tubers that can shut the fuck up. That's
I
where
like her
put it.
podcast. I don't listen to it a lot, but she's got the problem I have with it's too professional. She has people actually in the industry, and it's like I'd prefer to hear fans talking than. Yeah, I've checked
Doesn't
out
she
a
work
couple
for
of theirs.
Doesn't she work for Sony now?
She
or
works for
something?
Santa Monica. Or she did.
Yeah.
She's got what's the voice actor?
I can't trust your opinions. You work for corporations.
She's got the guy who did Joel, voice actor, like the most popular voice actor guy. An actual game dev, and then another.
Oh, that Troy Baker.
Troy Baker, and they're all very well spoken. They're all very smart, educated. They know what they're talking about. But I would rather hear fans talking about games than people who work. It's their job talking about games. If that makes any sense.
Well, yeah, because again, there's no compromise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
get
mean, they have good
unfettered-
discussions. I mean, they have really good discussions, but they're coming at it from like a completely different perspective. They're coming as professionals, talking about jobs, you know, and they.
I remember being excited for, what was it, Nintendo Powered podcast until I listened to that shit.
Yeah.
Is that the one where it's just like some dude that's like narrating?
This dry corporate shit out of my face.
It's so boring.
Yeah, I tried that.
Actually, who's the God of War creator that was on Next Gen's podcast?
He's Jeffrey.
Jaffe.
Jaffe.
or-
Yeah, Jeff.
He's out there, man. That dude has
David
some.
Jaffe. He's weird.
He's got some weird.
Yeah, I can tell.
He's very eccentric.
He is. And
So some of his takes, I was like,
him and Next Gen didn't get along because he doesn't care about graphics. He's like, you got to try these games. Nah, I'm playing that. I can't play that game. Can't play that game.
that Tinky
Yeah.
Winky, that
Like,
Tinky Winky.
So, but he's got his own.
He's like, you know,
I think he did it to
Like-
try to help build up his own little streaming. And I
Yeah,
watched
I
a
do
few
too.
of
yeah,
his.
he's been.
I've watched his opinion videos every once in a while.
Some of them are all right.
He talks about
some-
yeah, he's
Horizon.
fine. I'm proud of what he says.
And sometimes he don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It feels like
Yeah,
you got to catch him on the right day.
Yeah.
That's
So,
the way
uh,
I've learned.
So yeah, that's about it.
Thanks, Robert, for waking up.
Robert was just gonna take a little nap and be here about 7:30.
Actually, I wonder, he say anything in the damn?
I don't know. I got my phone on the charger. I haven't looked.
Let me see. He did not.
Retro Death was sick. Clocked it. Had to get up, going hiking with the family. So T is gonna be
Oh,
moving
that's
here pretty
good, yeah.
soon.
Strange Flash.
Hmm.
So when's that collab coming?
Family
That's
thing.
my
I just
question.
saw a horrible story about people, family hiking.
Oh no.
It was terrible. I'm not even going to mention it
No.
on here, but
I will
bad.
say I watched it's been a while. I seen it one time before, the Total Recall, the new movie. I know we're gonna end this, but
no.
if you
No.
take out the Total Recall part compared to the original, it's just not a bad sci-fi movie, honestly.
No,
I-
Juice. I don't want to hear that shit.
Honestly,
no.
I was just like, yeah, this isn't bad. If you just take out your love of the first movie, it didn't
Okay.
need to be Total Recall though. It just didn't need
Right,
to be.
I agree. But even if you do that, it's such a bland action movie to me.
I enjoyed it. I like the design of the city, like the futuristic elements they came up with. I thought were pretty original and unique for like how the world might be, but I was like, I'll give it.
What
a
a way to
chance.
waste Bryan Cranston. Like,
I know
what's
he
up
was
with these
wasted,
movies? They don't know how to use this dude.
but I was like, you know, I didn't think I was gonna watch the whole thing, and I end up watching the whole thing. But anyway, I thought that was kind of.
But anything that has old girl,
I mean, it's got Jessica Biel in it and Kate Beckinsale.
Jessica Biel.
It's hard not to
Exactly.
watch the movie. But anyway,
It's worth watching for that alone. I mean,
but
that's just too much.
anyway, on that note, we'll get out of here. And, thanks everybody for tuning in, and no trolls this week, so that was good. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
I kind of feel like that Ayers guy was borderline